Okay, so we're going to talk about 12-4 part 2, and we're talking about secants. So our secant is a line that intersects a circle at 2 points now. So before we had our tangent that intersected only at 1 point. So secant AB, and it's a line, that's a big deal. Hit circle O at 2 points. Then we're going to look at some other segments and what the product of those segments does. So for a given circle and a point, the product of the lengths of the two segments from the point to the circle is constant along these lines that we have. So if we're given this example where we have chords that intersect and they intersect in the circle, we're going to take the product of each part of the chord. So A times B is equal to C times D. So I always think of it as part times part equals part times part. Then if we've got these other segments where they intersect outside the circle, we are going to be able to find one or some part of our length of our segment by doing the outside portion times the sum, that whole line. So it's outside times the whole. So this whole line is x and w, so it's x plus w equals outside times the whole. So this whole line is y and z, so it's y plus z. So it's outside times the whole equals outside times the whole. And the third one, we've got a tangent in our segment here. So it's going to be the tangent squared. Well, it's tangent times itself equals outside, which was y, the outside part of our segment, times the whole segment. So the whole segment is y plus z. So it's, for the chords, it's part times part equals part times part. For these other lines, we've got outside times the whole equals outside times the whole. So let's do some examples for these. Okay, so these lines intersect outside the circle. So we're probably going to do outside times the whole. So the outside of one of our segments is just 6 times the whole of that segment. Now the whole segment is 6 plus 8, so 14, equals the outside of the other segment, which is 7, times the whole. That whole thing is y plus 7. And we're just solving for y. I'm going to move this step up here. So we get 84 equals 7y plus 49. 7y equals 35. And our missing variable, luckily in this one, whole number, we get 5. Again, we've got an, for the next one, for B, it's meaning outside. So it's outside times the whole. And since I always use the same thing, since this z is outside and the whole, I just multiply it by itself. So it's like z times z equals outside 8 times the whole. You have to find the sum. Sometimes you're going to have one number, sometimes you're going to have an expression for the sum. At 24. So z squared is equal to 8 times 24. All right, 192. I just rewrote that out. Interesting. And we're not going to get nice integer because 192 is not perfect square. So we are going to, like the directions say, round to the nearest tenth. So we get about 13.9 for z. All right, we're going to keep practicing these, deciding whether we're going. These intersect inside or outside the circle, and that'll tell us which of our three ways we're going to be using. So it's outside, and so we'll go outside times the whole. So outside was 14. The whole is 34. Equals outside times the whole. So outside of, so the portion of the segment that's outside the circle, that's what I mean by outside, times the whole. And if I look, I've got an x here, so the whole would be x and 16, so x plus 16. And so we get 14 times 34, 476, equals 16x plus 256. 16x is all on its own. And we get 220, and we'll see if we're around here. So x is 13.8 because we got to round to the nearest tenth. All right. And it just kind of keeps going like that. For D, we are inside the circle, our two chords inside the circle. So it's part times part. So part of my segment times part of my segment. And that's kind of confusing to see, but it's going to be 6.5 times m equals part of the segment times part of the segment. So 3 times 7. So 6.5 m equals 21. And we are looking to round to the nearest tenth, so it's 3.2. So we're just looking for that part. Then this second to last one, intersect outside the circle, so it's going to be, and I'm going to go a little faster now, part times part, outside times the whole, so 12 times x plus 12 equals outside times the whole, 25. So 12x plus 144 equals 275. I'm going to move up here, so 12x equals 131. Might get a decimal. We'll rewrite that equals. And we get 10.9 for x. So this is outside times the whole. 6 times the whole, 15, equals outside times the whole. They're both the same thing, so it's a times a squared. So a squared is equal to 6 times 15. We take the square root to get a. And we get about 9.5 on these approximately. Okay, and that is part 2 for our angle measures in segments for 12-4.